What if everything that's been taught about manifestation, everything about visualizing harder, affirming more, or waiting for signs, was actually the thing blocking the very thing being asked for? What if the constant chasing, trying, fixing, scripting, and hoping was the exact reason why it never feels done? Most people don't realize this, but the moment someone stops looking for their desire, stops checking the 3D, stops scrolling for answers, and finally stops trying to make it happen, something strange happens. It shows up, not because the universe was testing patience or waiting for some special moment, but because it was never outside in the first place. It was always now. It was always self. The whole structure of trying to manifest is built on a false idea, the belief that something is missing and has to be brought into reality through effort. But that idea of missing is just a lie the mind keeps replaying. The idea that the desire is out there somewhere in the future and the person must earn it or do something specific to reach it, that's the illusion. That's what creates time. That's what creates separation. And that's what keeps the 3D in the loop of delay. There's a different way. A simpler way that isn't about becoming someone or fixing the subconscious or even impressing the universe. It's about realizing that the power isn't out there. It never was. It's been here the whole time, hidden in plain sight, quietly waiting to be recognized. And once that realization happens, the whole game changes. There's no more effort, no more struggle, no more checking or doubting. Just being, not as a performance, but as truth. The only reason things ever feel far is because of the assumption that they are. The only reason things feel delayed is because time is being created by the belief that something has to change first. But when someone finally sees clearly that everything is now and everything is self, the entire cycle of trying ends. That's not giving up. That's waking up. So if nothing else is remembered from this video, remember this: it was never the technique. It was never the weight. It was never the universe holding it back. It was never a sign or a perfect feeling or a magical moment. It was always the awareness that's right here, right now. That's what has the power. That's what creates everything. And it doesn't need to try, it just needs to remember. The biggest illusion most people live under is the idea that they are separate from what they want. That belief creates a story that says, I am here and my desire is over there. I must travel the path. I must cross the bridge. I must fix, heal, or align to become worthy of receiving it. But that story is false. That idea of being apart from the desire is only a thought. And it's a thought that's been repeated so often it starts to feel like reality. But reality doesn't come from what's outside. It doesn't come from facts or time. It comes from the assumptions being lived in right now. There is no over there. There's only now. And there's only self. The entire world, all of it, is just reflecting whatever is being accepted as true in consciousness. That's it. There's no one giving or withholding anything. There's no test to pass. The 3D is not some puzzle to solve. It's a mirror, a quiet mirror that has no opinion, no bias, no agenda. It only reflects what's been assumed, repeated, and accepted. So if someone believes they must become something first, or that their desire is on its way but not quite here yet, the mirror simply reflects that belief back. It shows a life where things are always almost here but never fully arrived. And if someone believes they are not enough yet, or they still have work to do, that becomes the reality too. Not because it's the truth, but because it was assumed. The truth is far more simple and far more powerful. The truth is that there's no distance to close. There's no journey to take. What's wanted is already done. Already created, already here, not out there in the world, but here in awareness, now. But that truth can't be grasped while still believing in separation. That's why the search never works. The more someone looks, the more they affirm that it's not here. The more they try, the more they affirm that they don't yet have it. It's the act of trying that keeps it away. Because trying can only exist if the thing is believed to be missing. But when someone stops, really stops, and sees that there is no other, no place to get to, no distance between who they are and what they want, something clicks. A deep peace replaces the mental noise. A knowing settles in. And from that knowing, the mirror starts to shift. Not because effort was applied, but because the illusion of separation was finally dropped. Trying sounds like a good thing at first. It sounds responsible. It sounds disciplined. It sounds like effort and progress and movement. But in the world of manifestation, trying is often the mask of disbelief. Trying is just another way of saying, I don't have it yet, but maybe if I do this, I will. That mindset feels innocent, but it's exactly what keeps things from showing up. Because every time someone tries, what they're really saying underneath is, I'm not that person yet, and the moment that's the state, the mirror simply reflects it back. The 3D doesn't judge. It doesn't ask questions. It just gives more of whatever is being assumed and felt. So when the dominant assumption is I'm working on it, that's exactly what life continues to reflect. More work, more effort, more in-progress energy, but never the final arrival. Trying also becomes addictive. It becomes a loop. One method leads to another. One affirmation becomes 10. One visualization becomes hours of searching for the right frequency, the right guided meditation, the right breakthrough. And all of that effort starts to feel like progress, but it's really just distraction. It keeps attention focused outward, always scanning for proof, always hoping for change, instead of inward, where everything already is. And the truth is, the more someone tries to manifest something, the more they energize the belief that they don't already have it. That's why it doesn't come. Not because it's hard, but because the constant effort becomes a wall between the now and the assumption of having. Letting go of trying isn't the same as giving up. It's the opposite. It's surrendering the false idea that effort was ever needed. It's remembering that the moment something is fully assumed to be true, deeply, quietly, without force, then the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Not because of some magical rule, but because that's what consciousness does. It creates, always, and it creates not from how hard someone tries, but from what they believe is already true right now. So if the energy has been heavy, if things have felt stuck, if manifestation has started to feel like work or pressure or confusion, it might be time to stop. Not stop desiring, not stop imagining, but stop trying, because trying keeps the loop alive. And peace, true peace, only comes when there's no more effort to chase something that was never missing to begin with. Trying says, it's not mine yet. Knowing says, it already is. And knowing is the only state where real movement ever happens. Techniques can be beautiful when they're used as reminders, as little tools to bring focus back to the truth. But when they become rituals, when they become boxes to check off every day, when they turn into rules that must be followed perfectly, that's when they start doing more harm than good. Because manifestation was never meant to be complicated. It's not a series of steps. It's not a code to crack. It's not a game of doing it right. It's just a reflection of what's being accepted as true within. And if someone starts to believe that they need to do something specific to deserve their desire, they've already placed themselves outside of it. The truth is, the techniques were never the thing. Sats didn't create the change. Affirmations didn't move the pieces. Scripting didn't activate the 3D. Those were all just mirrors of belief, helpful only because the person believed they helped. But the power was never in the practice. It was always in the awareness using it. And when that's forgotten, techniques become prisons. They become more proof that the person isn't ready, that they need to do more, that they need to unlock some feeling, some moment, some level of worthiness before things can shift. But here's what really shifts things. Not effort, not the perfect night routine, not the exact set of words, but the quiet, grounded knowing that there's nothing to earn because nothing is missing. When someone truly knows that everything is already theirs, when they drop all the methods and rest in that calm certainty, the outer world begins to bend. Not because they followed a script, but because the identity changed. The inner state shifted from seeking to being. And being doesn't require doing. It just is. Techniques can serve as reminders, but they are never the source. The more someone clings to them, the more they confirm that they don't trust themselves. That's why walking away from techniques can feel scary at first, like giving up control. But it's not losing control. It's reclaiming it. It's remembering that the true power was never in the words repeated or the images imagined. It was in the self behind all of it. The awareness that decides what's real. The one who chooses what to accept as truth. So the question isn't which technique should I use, but am I ready to stop searching and start being? Because when the techniques fall away, what's left is just you, and that's all there ever was. Time feels real because it's measured. Clocks tick. Days pass. We remember the past and anticipate the future. But when it comes to manifestation, time is one of the biggest illusions. Because what's truly being experienced in every single moment is not time itself, it's attention. And attention only exists in one place, now. No matter how much someone thinks about the future or replays the past, it's always happening now. Every assumption, every reaction, every feeling, it's all happening now. And manifestation doesn't care about what happened yesterday or what's being hoped for tomorrow. It responds to what's alive in the awareness right now. There's this belief that things are on the way, that life is unfolding in steps and that one day the desire will finally land. But the truth is, the only reason it hasn't appeared is because it hasn't been claimed in the now. The identity being lived in is still waiting. Still hoping, still becoming. But manifestation doesn't respond to want. It responds to being. And being is always present tense. It's not, I will be that version. It's I am that version now. Not someday. Not later. Now. Always now. When that shift happens, when attention moves from future thinking to present knowing, everything starts to change. The need to check for signs fades. The need to micromanage circumstances disappears. The pressure to do the right thing dissolves. Because the state has changed. And once the state changes, the outer world begins to match because it has no choice. It's not personal. It's mechanical. It just reflects. There is no future version of you to become. That's the biggest lie. The version that has everything is not ahead. It's already here. It's already you. The only thing that needs to change is what's being identified with. The moment that shifts, the timeline shifts. Not gradually, instantly. Because time only exists to the mind. To awareness, it's always now. And when that's finally understood, Not just as a concept, but as an experience, things stop feeling far away. Desires stop feeling like goals and start feeling like facts. There's no more waiting. There's no more trying. There's just living, being, knowing, and that's when life bends. Because it was never the future that held the answers. It was never the waiting that proved readiness. It was the awareness of now, the quiet acceptance that nothing is missing and nothing needs to change. And from that space, the reflection finally catches up. There comes a moment, sometimes after months, sometimes after years, when the search starts to feel exhausting. The endless content, the constant learning, the feeling of being so close but never quite there. And in that exhaustion, something honest breaks through. A question that sounds simple but holds the power to change everything. What if I don't need to search anymore? That question doesn't come from defeat. It comes from clarity. From finally realizing that the thing being looked for was never missing. It was the search itself that kept it hidden. The search feels important. It gives a sense of progress. It feels like doing something. But it also creates a story that says, I haven't arrived yet. And that story becomes the very thing that holds everything back. Because as long as someone is searching, they're not being. And manifestation only responds to being. It doesn't wait for perfect knowledge. It doesn't require all the answers. It just reflects the state of identity being lived right now. So when the search ends, what's really ending is the belief that something is outside. And when that belief collapses, a new space opens up, a quiet space, a peaceful space, where nothing is missing and everything just is. That space doesn't need to manifest anything. It already knows it's whole. And from that wholeness, desires unfold naturally. Not because of effort, but because there's nothing in the way. Ending the search doesn't mean ignoring desires. It means letting go of the idea that they're far away. It means choosing to live from the end. Not by visualizing harder, but by trusting deeper. Trusting that it's already done. Trusting that it's already within. Trusting that there's no secret step. No perfect moment, no missing link. Just you, just now, because you are always the key. Not the technique, not the method, not the routine. Just the self, the one who assumes, who imagines, who decides. And when that self stops pretending it's small, stops trying to earn what's already theirs, stops waiting for something external to give permission, that's when the world bends. So if the search has left you tired, let this be the moment you stop. Not to quit, but to remember. Remember that there is only you, and there is only now. Everything else was just noise. And in that remembering, manifestation becomes effortless, not because of magic, but because the truth was always this simple. If this helped quiet the noise and reminded you of the truth that was always within, drop a comment and share what part hit you the hardest. Sometimes the moment everything changes isn't when something new is learned. It's when something simple is finally remembered.